Today's video is sponsored by
rAiD, Shadow Legends.
Nope. Just kidding. That would be awful. It's actually sponsored by ExpressVPN. Alright, so just as I did in my last video, I'd like to emphasize that this video is a criticism of the company, not a call out of the creators. Bills must be paid, and that's not easy when the bill payer is YouTube Incorporated. I once got an email from YouTube informing me that I got demonetized for being an adult. That didn't happen, but the fact that you had to think about it proves why we do sponsorships. And that's why I'm glad to announce this video is sponsored by ExpressVPN. I don't really know enough about technology to explain how a VPN works, but I've been hacked enough times to know why I need one. Someone stole my YouTube password last year. They managed to steal it over a Wi-Fi connection when I was editing my videos out in public, which I didn't even think was a thing. But now with ExpressVPN, all of my data going to and from my laptop is encrypted. Hackers can't see it, your ISP can't see it, not even ExpressVPN can see it. Your entire livelihood is on the internet, so don't let someone take it just because your data is insecure. Also, you can download ExpressVPN, change your location with one click, and then watch Kiki's delivery service and a ton of Studio Ghibli movies right from Netflix. So that right there would be enough to convince me. Look, my Twitter trends are in Japanese. I don't speak Japanese. Check out ExpressVPN from the link down below and find out how you can get 3 months free. That's expressvpn.com/D'Angelo. So if you're lucky enough to have never heard of rAiD Shadow Legends, you're not as lucky as you thought you were, because here's a recap.
rAiD.
Shameless liars.
rAiD Shadow Legends is a game. It's not a good game, but that's what my last video was about. The only thing bigger than the lies rAiD uses to advertise their game is their advertising budget itself. They've sponsored hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of ad reads. So my bright idea in my last video was to put their sponsorship to the test. I went through claim by claim and debunked their entire sponsorship script. In doing so, I realized that they used a lot of deceptive or misleading language so that their claims were technically true, even though they were still lying. rAiD Shadow Legends is very committed to their half-truths though. One of their claims is that it's one of the highest rated RPGs on the Google Play Store. Which, sure. But most of these high reviews were paid for to offset the thousands and thousands of horribly negative reviews. Allegedly. For some reason, rAiD is obsessed with maintaining an image of honesty and excellence, despite the fact that everyone just considers them to be the poster child for putting money over the little things, like quality or honesty. I think the main conclusion I came to in my video is that rAiD Shadow Legends just straight up lied about what it is. It's not an RPG, it's just a pachinko machine with a few loading screens. And like all gambling services, it makes bank. Bank which in turn fuels the excessive amount of sponsorships that plague the poor denizens of YouTube.com. So maybe with all these things considered, I shouldn't be quite so shocked at rAiD's newest lie, but if anything, I think I'm just more so shocked that they thought anyone would fall for this. Hi there. We do not sponsor. We cooperate only with those YouTubers who play our game and want to be our influencers. We do not pay money for it. Signed, Alina. So like, where do I start? Let's just start with the first sentence. Hi there. We do not sponsor. Then what are these?
Today's sponsor, rAiD Shadow Legends.
Thanks so much to rAiD Shadow Legends.
rAiD Shadow
rAiD
Legends.
Shadow Legends. rAiD Shadow
I know
Legends.
you already know about rAiD Shadow Legends.
Just go to the YouTube search bar and type up install rAiD for free and look what comes up. Everything comes up. Half of the videos on this website come up. I feel like a disappointed parent. Like I have a hypothetical toddler named rAiD Shadow Wallace and he's holding a red marker and there's red marker all over the wall and I ask him, how did that get there? And he says, look Pops, I don't draw on walls with red marker. I don't know what to tell you. How stupid do they think we are? There's levels to this. There's being so smart you think everyone around you is stupid. And then there's you assuming everyone is so stupid that the only logical conclusion is that you yourself are the stupidest. Every word I read in this tweet is causing me to lose brain cells, and I'm only 6 words in. By the time I finish reading it, I might actually believe it. That was probably their plan all along. We cooperate only with those YouTubers who play our game and want to be our influencers. Let me explain something. Nobody wants to be an influencer. That's just what happens when you have internet access and no other job prospects. And every time I'm reminded that I am one, I just think, ugh, why? But if I did relish in being an influencer, why would I want to be a rAiD influencer? That's like saying, I want to be a kids YouTuber. No, you probably just wanted to be a YouTuber, and you wound up with an audience of kids because your content offers no value for anyone over the age of 12. Trust me, YouTubers don't want to do rAiD sponsorships. They just want to pay for their food. And rAiD Shadow Legends is the rundown little gas station that they have to stop at on the road to financial stability. Lastly, it says, we do not pay for it. Great. So of course the internet reacted very negatively to this tweet, racking up over 800 comments and 180 retweets, one of which was mine calling them out. But people started to wonder about the tweet. It was so absurd that it didn't seem real. What if it actually wasn't?
Shady Legality.
Let's look at the sponsorship I did in this video. I disclosed not once. It's actually sponsored by ExpressVPN, but twice. This video is sponsored by ExpressVPN. That it is, in fact, sponsored by ExpressVPN. On top of that, I also put this information in the description of this video. If I haven't made it clear by now, I want you to know that I was paid to promote a service. It's the same thing I would legally have to do if I was promoting rAiD Shadow Legends, regardless of what rAiD said. And that's because no matter what you do, you can't outrun the FTC. The United States Federal Trade Commission is a government agency that regulates consumer protection. It stops people like Jake Paul from trying to take advantage of people like Jake Paul subscribers. And if Jake Paul's subscribers are anything to go by, it's not very effective. But still, there are rules that have to be followed, and they're very straightforward. In this handy FTC brochure called Disclosures 101 for Social Media Influencers. Why? You can see that I have to comply with the law when endorsing products and working with brands. I have to disclose whether I have any financial relationship with a brand, and this applies to me even if I didn't live in the United States, as long as it's reasonably foreseeable that the post will affect US consumers. And that last part is very important, because this means that while rAiD Shadow Legends is operating out of Israel, they have to follow FTC guidelines as well, since the YouTube sponsorships that they are paying for obviously affect US consumers. That's why all the YouTubers disclose the ads anyway. In fact, I feel bad for the commentary community. Making a video called rAiD broke the law is a one-way ticket to massive views. But seeing as half the YouTubers in this community signed contracts with rAiD, they can't even make disparaging remarks about the company without getting in trouble. They didn't just sign a brand deal, they signed away their right to discourage people from associating with rAiD. They signed away their right to make this video that you're watching. Then again, this video that you're watching isn't even worth half a rAiD sponsorship, so actually I don't feel sorry for them at all, and maybe I'm the silly one. But still, rAiD's statement makes these YouTubers out to be liars and puts them at odds with the FTC. Or at least it would, but honestly, even something as incompetent as a US government agency can probably very easily see that rAiD is lying here and that the YouTubers did the right thing and disclosed their sponsorships. So as you can see, it's flat out illegal to say that rAiD doesn't pay YouTubers to do sponsorships. But they still said it. In fact, it's a little weird that they still said it because barely 2 weeks prior, the FTC announced that they're cracking down on misleading advertising practices. It says in no uncertain terms, when companies launder advertising by paying an influencer to pretend that their endorsement or review is untainted by a financial relationship, this is illegal payola. In other words, YouTube's biggest sponsor broke the law. And I think they realized that because they tried to take it back really fast.
rAiD.
Shaky legitimacy.
Just a couple of days after rAiD, violated federal laws, they released a statement. Hi guys, some of you may have already seen the reply posted here earlier by one of the company's representatives regarding our cooperation with YouTubers. The reply was rather confusing and one-sided. Nothing about their original statement was confusing. How were the words, "we do not sponsor," "we do not pay money for it," confusing? The only confusing part was the fact that they thought they'd get away with it. Anyway, we would like to shed some light on the situation. And to this, they've attached not a letter, not a notepad apology, but a screenshot of a Discord message. The level of unprofessionalism, far too much. So the meat of this message is as follows. What Alina was talking about in this tweet is our cooperation with the group of YouTube content creators, the players that create tutorials, reviews on our game, and with whom we have a direct communication channel and a special support program. However, Alina was not referring to our marketing advertising campaign in the reply, which has led to confusion and misunderstanding. In any event, individuals taking part in any paid sponsorship marketing campaigns through YouTube and similar platforms are obligated to include proper disclosure. Oh. So my entire video is wrong because they weren't talking about not paying for sponsorships. They were just talking about not paying gaming YouTubers who choose to make rAiD Shadow Legends gameplay videos. Is what they probably want me to say. But that's obviously not true, since they use the words, "we do not sponsor," verbatim. And the whole "we do not sponsor" tweet was in response to some guy asking Dollar Shave Club and rAiD Shadow Legends to sponsor him as part of a conversation about pre-roll sponsors. So basically, the moral of the story here is subscribe to my second channel. I upload almost every single day there, and while the quality might not be as high as this channel, I at least managed to avoid lying and violating federal laws. For the most part. Anyway, looks like we've gotten 2 minutes of content now. If this, leave a like, tell me what you think, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for watching, and a big thank you to my 316,000 subscribers. Okay, bye.